Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, just an ordinary guy. And today we're going to talk about starters, in particular for the S10, so hang tight. All right, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. This is a 10 shop, I guess you could say. I haven't finished my insulation, and it's raining, so we got a little bit of back noise in here. Background noise, white noise, gray noise, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, and the other thing I wanted to ask everybody that hasn't already done it, please subscribe if you haven't. Just hit the button, what you got to lose, but maybe 10, 15 minutes of your time. And hit the like buttons too, I appreciate that. So anyways, that being said, let's get into the starters here a little bit. Now, like I've said before, I'm old school. I've been around a while. Doesn't mean I know a lot. But anyways, so the S10, when I first bought it back 8, 9 years ago, it had a small block in it already, and I'd been over that before. And it had one of these. I'm gonna have to move the camera down a little bit. Sorry, you're not gonna be able to see my pretty face for a while. Okay. You know what? That's not a very good angle. Here, let me try this. Maybe go back a little bit, like that. Everyone see that okay? I think that works. All right. So, what I had on it when I first got it was one of these dinosaurs. This is just your old school factory starter. I believe this one is the high torque. I'm not sure. There's two. One of them has the contact that actually drives the starter motor itself here, and some of them have them closer. And I think the one at the distance is the high torque, the one that sticks out farther. This is also for a 168, the larger of the two flex plates or flywheels. You can tell by the staggered holes right there. Now this was on the S10, not this one. This was actually on the Impala. But one just like this was on the S10. I think I got it in my storage. These are great starters, you know, for street cars and, you know, for what they are. This one here, back in the day when you'd run these with your headers, because they were so large, right along here, they would get hot. And your solenoid would stop working. So you'd have to run like a separate relay off to the side. What you would do here is you would take your start one, this is where your key goes to, and then you have your one here where the battery goes, and you'd make a little wire that would go across between the two, and then you just hook your battery to this, and then you'd have a relay set somewhere else. And so that relay is what would do the little clicking over and make this work. So worked pretty good, but it was a bummer, you know, back in the day to go by a buddy's house and go to leave, or go to the store and go to leave, and then all of a sudden your car don't want to start because the solenoid overheated. So anyways, like I said, good starters, but not all that good for hot rods. So let me set that over here. So when I put the S10 together, when I built the first engine for it, I changed the headers, I made new motor mounts, I did all that. I set the engine back as far as I could possibly get it and as low as I could possibly get it. And so one of these wouldn't fit anymore. So what I did was I went and bought one of these mini starters. This cost right about $100, I think is what this was. This is out of like a 96, 98, 2000, somewhere around there. I think Vortec era motor is where this, so this was out of a Chevy, like Suburban. Let's just say it was a 98 Suburban, that's what I'm gonna say. Now this is a mini starter. Now this one here, when I put it in, even right here at the bottom, my cross member is really close. It just barely fits in there, but it does, it works good. Now you could see the difference between the two, you know, size-wise, considerably. Let me get right here in front. It's considerably smaller and even shorter. You know, you can tell this is why you don't have that overheating problem because probably newer technology, but also just the size. You got a lot more clearance out here for headers and frames and all that with this. This is a great starter. I love it. And I'd still be using it on the S10, but this is a factory type starter, and it's not designed for a race engine that's got 13-to-1 compression or the heavy duty valve springs from a solid roller cam. So this engine does not turn over very easily by hand. So I can tell the starter was just kind of struggling with it. So what I did, now my hands are all dirty. So what I ended up doing is I bought one of these. This is a Power Master starter. This is a Denso type starter, the type it is. So what it is, you have the motor up here. It's a gear reduction. You have the motor up here, the gears and solenoid combo down below. So it's a lot more compact. You know, and I should also point out with these things, this thing weighs a ton. This thing is probably 30% lighter than this one. And this one is probably, yeah, this might be half the weight of that. I don't know. I didn't scale them, but it is considerably lighter. Oh, the other thing before I move on, these are about 50 or 60 bucks, you know, at the rebuilt ones or whatever when you go to your store, auto parts store to get one. These are about 100 bucks. This one here was 200. But the other thing that this does, besides that, well, first off, you can see the clearance. If you look at the back, you know, the amount of clearance that I have, it's set up differently. So again, this here was a spot that I was having a real close interference with, close to interference with the cross member. And on this one, there's just a lot more room because the motor is on top and not on the bottom. The other thing that this will do is you can clock this. You know, this is a fixed starter, this smaller one. You put it in, that's it. You can't do anything but bolt it up the way that it goes. This one here has a couple of Torx bolts in there that you could loosen up, and then you could rotate the motor back and forth so that way it sits in case you have header clearance, frame clearance, any kind of clearance issue, or if you just want to tuck it up real tight, you can just move it, you know, so it tucks up against the motor or whatever you want to do. The other thing you can do with this is this plate here will come off, and it comes with a ring, and you can shim it, you know, to put the motor, the gear part in and out a little bit. Inside the instructions, and see, this one here actually has a straight across bolt pattern. These have the staggered one, which is for a 168 tooth, the larger flex plate. This one's straight across, but this is also for a 168 tooth. And in the instructions, it's pretty neat. It shows you one of the ways to judge, I do anyways, the quality of a part is the quality of their instructions. You know, you can see it's color, it's well written out. You know, you can see what they're talking about. They tell you there's a couple of different measurements. You know, they want you to measure back from the flex plate a certain distance on this. That's where that ring comes in. So if you have to space it, you can. And then they want you to also measure the depth of the tooth, which you're supposed to do with these guys because you can adjust that with the shim. This one here actually even comes with a couple of shims if you need it, and also comes with replacement starter bolts. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, let's move this forward. Sorry, it's cold out here and I feel like my nose is trying to run a little bit. But anyways, that's going to be it on the starters. I'm not going to video trying to put this thing in and adjusting it and all that stuff because there's just no room underneath the truck, and it's really difficult to get any video underneath there. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in, and later on in another video, you'll hear it work when I go to start it. So thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And if you didn't subscribe in the beginning, you can subscribe now. And of course you can like it. So thank you, my friends, and I'll see you next time.